Good day, folks. Welcome to Bright Mind Academy, where we bring brilliance to every lesson. Now, this is a continuation of May-June 2022 question paper. So, question 8, that's the start of calculus. Interesting stuffs. All right, let's just dive into it. 5 marks, this one, everyone should be able to be in a position of getting it. All right. So, the first question, normally under a calculus, normally question 8, it says to you now, determine the derivative of f, which is f prime x, from first principle. If it is give, they are asking you from first principle. We know that you know rules, but use first principle. If it is given that f of x is equal to negative x squared. Now, what I normally say to students is that do this simply, easy your life, easy your life. Or whatever the English there, make sure that your life is easier. All right, so say, all right, I have f of x, it is equal to what? Negative x squared. Make yourself a favor and find f of x plus h before you can even go anywhere. So what does this tell me? F of x plus h, it means where I see x, I will substitute plus h. So it means it's going to be negative into what? X plus h squared. Take note that I did not substitute like this, negative x plus h. No, 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 no. No. When I see x, I put a bracket, then I add h. Okay? So then I now do what? I do multiplication thereof and my mathematics. My mathematics says now this is going to be x squared plus 2xh plus h squared. Okay? Then when I'm done, I can distribute like this. Then now, what does first principle says? First principle says now to us f prime x, it is equal to limit as h approaches what? 0. Ne? Allow me to use a different color. F of x, it is equal to limit as h approaches 0. Now, as it approaches 0, we're going to say it is f of x plus h. This you are given in the formula sheet, right? This you are given in the formula sheet, minus h. Now, you have to continue with this part until your last substitution step. If you do not, I don't know what to say because your marks are gone. Your marks are gone. So let's continue. I'm gonna say I can only continue with this part. You can skip this, it's fine. What's important is limit as h approaches 0, then you do what? You substitute. What I normally tell my students, actually, when I say my students, I refer to those who were doing grade 12 with me last year. So I used to teach them. So yes, I call them my student even today. So what I taught my student is that if your f of x here has something blah 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 something squared, so you see the highest degree of power here, or the highest exponent, it is 2 here, right? So if your highest exponent, it is 2 here, it means when you substitute here, when you come and substitute here, those something that has x squared should cancel out of, all of them should cancel out of. It means when you simplify, you should not have something that has x squared. Even if your power will be x cubed here on the f of x part, it means you shouldn't have what? X cubed. All right, I believe that's all. What is f of x plus h? It is negative x squared. Let's write that neatly. X squared minus 2xh minus h squared minus, every time when you substitute, do yourself a favor. Every time when you substitute, do yourself a favor and put whatever that you substitute inside the brackets, minus x squared. Okay? Divide by h. Then I still have limit as h approaches 0. Then you all agree with me that this will end up being negative and negative being positive, right? If this is positive, we agree with that negative x squared plus x squared, it cancels off. Negative x squared plus x squared, it cancels off, right? So this is what is going to happen here. So it means I'll be left with what? I will be left with negative 2xh minus h squared all divided by h. Then equal sign, limit as h approaches 0. Here, do not take negative as a highest common factor. What you are interested in when you reach this step is taking out h, only h. Why? Because when we deal with limit, we do not want h as a denominator. Why? Because when we substitute h, uh, 0, 0 in place of h, remember something divided by 0, this is undefined. So we want to remove this h at the denominator. All right. So how can I do that? Just factor out h. Only factor out h from this equation. Okay. Only factor out what? H. Then you are left with negative 2x minus h divided by h. Then now this h and this h will cancel off. Okay. H and h will cancel off. Then you'll be having what? You'll have equal sign. You see, I'm still saying limit as h approaches 0. It is equal to what? Now I'm left with 2x minus h. Then now I'm in a position of substituting what? H as 0. And when I do that, I get that, therefore, uh, therefore it is how much? When I substitute h as 0, I get negative 2x. I'm done. I can say final answer, actually. Final answer, therefore, f prime x, it is equal to negative 2x. No more limit. All right. Remember, you know how to evaluate this. You know rules, right? Before even attempting to answer the question, just say, all right, my expected answer is supposed to be negative 2x. If you do not get anything like this, it means you are wrong. So I believe first principle you got. It is easy 5 marks there that everyone should be in a position of getting it. Okay, I believe I believe you'll never disappoint. I strongly I strongly believe you'll never disappoint. So now we are going to limit rules. Why am I calling them limit rules? Rules of calculus. Rules of differentiation, actually. Let me just call them rules of differentiation, not limit laws. Limit laws is something or that is out of your syllabus. So 8.2.1, it says determine f prime x if it is given that f of x it is equal to 4x cubed minus 5i. From here you can use your rules. You can use your rules. So for 8.2.1, this should be fairly easy, 2 marks. Actually, let me just do it here. How do I do this? I'm gonna say f prime x. Make sure that everything it is in a standard form. That is okay, right? F prime x it is equal to what? 3 times 4. Remember, it is 3 times 4. It gives me how much? 12 x. Then I subtract 1 from the exponent. It gives me what? It gives me squared. Minus 2 times 5, it is 10. Then x, because it is x squared minus 1. This is your easy 2 marks. This is fairly straightforward. This is fairly straightforward. Now, I come to this one interesting one, 8.2.2. Now we have dx of whatever that you have. Now, before I come to dx, if I have a plus b divided by c, what I want to do, I want to make this a divided by c plus b divided by c. Okay? Another important thing is that whatever that you are differentiating with respect to, oh, this English, but Ma'am Dimo, I repeat, whatever that you are differentiating with respect to should not be inside the square root. If it is inside the square root, you should take it out. Okay? Take it out. If it is at the denominator, you should take it at the numerator. Ax to the power of negative 1, because it is a positive power here, right? These are the important rules that you should apply. They like to assess these rules very much. Whatever that you're differentiating with respect to should not be inside the square root, first rule. The second rule should not be at the denominator. Okay, yes. Now, what are we differentiating with respect to? We are differentiating with respect to x. So it means x should not be in the denominator, should not be inside the radical, which is the square root. Okay, so now I'm going to say dx, you're going to continue and say equal sign. Dx, you still put dx. Dx what? Apply this law that says, this rule that says it's going to be a divided by c plus B divided by C first before doing anything, okay? And see what exactly I'm trying to say here. It's going to be negative 6 cube root of x divided by x to the power of 4 plus this is one term, right? This is one term, right? Plus what? Plus 2 divided by x to the power of 4. Then you continue dx. You continue with this dx until you are in the final step of differentiation thereof. All right. Then remember, now we apply the differentiation rules. The rules say whatever that you're differentiating with respect to should not be inside the square root. So it's going to be negative 6 x to the power of, remember, if I have a cubed, it's going to be a to the power of 1 divided by 3. So let's apply that there. 1 to the power of 3 like this. Divided by what? By x to the power of 4. I'm taking you step by step so that you can see exactly. All right. If you are already a master in calculus, then you can just jump to your thingies. Then I'm saying what? Whatever that I'm differentiating with respect to should not be in the denominator. Okay. So what do I mean it should not be in the denominator now? I mean, take this, or rather, for this one we have x and x here, right? We have x and x here, right? So we can do our math. So we can say if we have the same denominator, what will happen? If we have the same x, actually, you know what? Just apply this, whatever that I'm gonna show you, so that you do not get confused. It's gonna be negative 6 x to the power 1 over 3 multiply by, remember this one when it comes at the top is gonna be multiply by x to the power of negative 4 plus 2x to the power of negative 4. This, you are good to go. Derive again. When you derive again, it's going to be 1/3. Remember, it now have the same base. If we have the same base and they are multiplying each other, what will happen to the exponent? The exponents will add, right? So we will have negative 6x 1/3 plus negative 4, which is 1/3 minus 4, right? And when you do this to your on your calculator, you get that your answer is, let's check, 1/3 minus 4, it is negative 11, divided by 3, plus what? Allow me to write this again as it is, plus 2 to the power of negative 4. Okay, I guess my bracket needed to be this small. Then now, am I in a position of differentiating? Yes. Now that I'm in a position of differentiating and everything is on the standard what and good to go, I no longer write this. I can now differentiate. When I differentiate, it is negative 11 divided by 3 multiplied by 6, multiplied by negative 6 rather, it's going to be positive 22. This multiplied by that, it is positive 22. Then when I say what x, right? Actually, let me write this here. So that you can see, right? Then I'm going to say this minus 1 here. So when I say negative 11 divided by 3 minus 1, how much do I get? I get negative 14 divided by 3. Make sure that you can clearly show that this is a exponent, this is a coefficient. Then 2 multiplied by negative 4, we get negative 8, what? X to the power of negative 5. Negative 4 minus 1, it is negative 5. This is your 4 marks. How does your 4 marks come here? Applying these rules here. Applying these rules now, changing this from a square root, right, to a whatever thingy. They applying rules, then taking out this one as there, taking this to the numerator, both of these to the numerator, it is another mark. Then for differentiating, then another mark. So that's all for question 8. Let's meet on question 9 under where we deal with graphs, cubic functions. Okay, thank you.